Hi guys, I'm Vyome Singh. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about how a computer science student can be scientist at ISRO and work culture of ISRO and what actually ISRO scientist does with Pushp. Pushp is ISRO scientist. She joined ISRO in 2019. Hi Pushp, welcome to our channel.
Hi Vyom, thank you for having me here today.
Could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
So hello everyone, I am Pushp. Education wise, I come from a very humble background. I've done my graduation in computer science from JP Institute, Noida. After that, I went directly for post-graduation in computer science itself from JNU, and I also enrolled in a PhD program over there. So after that, I also worked as an assistant professor briefly around a year. And after that, I was offered this position for working as a scientist with ISRO, which I took over in December 2018. So yes.
First, tell us how it feels to work for ISRO, the best organization in India.
Definitely, it feels to be very good to be working at an organization like ISRO. You have people from all educational backgrounds as well as from all the different streams. So you also get a lot of motivation to be and inspiration to be working with people from all sets of streams as well as from all over the country. And yeah, it feels good to be working for the nation and on high-end technology at the same time. So it's definitely a very good feeling.
What kind of work and project you ISRO people do? Basically, I'm asking for the computer science scientist.
Yeah. So regarding the kind of projects, so definitely there's a section of ISRO that works on satellites. We have a section that works on building the launch vehicle. Then for the launch vehicles, we have the mechanical aspects to it. We have the software components of the launch vehicle. So and then we also have a section for remote sensing. That is the data that we are receiving from the satellites. So there's a huge variety of work that goes on in ISRO. And regarding the kind of work for a computer scientist, see, the kind of work that we are allotted over here is not very specific to a single domain. The kind of work over here is very much multidisciplinary. Even if you are coming from a pure computer science background, you need to pick up a lot of skills. That is, you need to, for example, for me, I had to read a lot of physics and mathematics after joining my division over here. There are other people who works on control. And so you need to have a multiple set of skills to really survive over here. So pure computer science per se, I don't think there is a position over here. So, but then you definitely grow once you enter the organization.
So do you find it tough or it's comfortable to learn physics and math after so long?
Definitely, it was a little challenging in the beginning for me, but again, you tend to pick up things with time. So yeah, I've definitely gotten comfortable with time now.
Okay. So comes to the main point. What is the selection procedure for ISRO scientist?
So the selection procedure, if I would say, there are two ways. One is the campus recruitment. So ISRO normally goes to various IITs all around the country for picking students. That is a direct mode of recruitment. And for the non-IITians, we have the ICRB, that is a centralized exam, which is almost held yearly. And so you need to apply for that exam based on your stream. So the first process is the screening of the applications itself. So you need to have a CGPA of up and above around 6.7 for your application to be shortlisted. And then moving on to the written test, you have a time window of around 90 minutes and you have got 80 questions in it. And each question carries round about 3 marks. And then there's also a negative marking of 1/3 marks. So after the written test is a third step, that is the final interview. Usually they call people from the written test to the interview in 1:6 ratio. So after that, there's another round which is for interview.
There is only one round of interview?
Yeah, there's only one round of interview.
What was the pattern of written test? What was the difficulty of the question It is like the GATE kind of question or UGC net type kind of question, or they have something different kind of question like corporate companies asking online coding and all thing.
So actually, if you have been preparing for exams like GATE and for UGC NET, I don't think you need to have a dedication preparation for ISRO exam. If you are very clear with your concepts and your approach of, taking objective tests like GATE and UGC NET, I think you can be very comfortable with the exam at ISRO because it tests your very basic knowledge. So there is not, I wouldn't say there are a lot of coding related questions, but yes, you got to have your basic understanding of the subjects right. Then you can, I think, glide through easily.
What basic subject they ask in the written test?
See, my approach has always been like 4 to 5 subjects. I have always prepared very well. And these 4 to 5 subjects are data structures, algorithms, and then computer organization, operating systems, and computer networks. So I myself have always, for preparing for be it ISRO or other objective examinations, I've always made it a point that at least these basic subjects I should have a strong hold on. So besides these, definitely some amount of mathematics and some amount of basic coding you should be comfortable with. But I think these are the 5 core subjects from which mostly the questions are asked.
I think database and theory of computation is also asked in ISRO.
Yes. Databases as well as theory of computation also, they are also quite important too.
That means near about the GATE curriculum or GATE subjects.
Yes, exactly.
What is the cutoff for the written test?
Usually it depends on the number of vacancies that have been advertised. Usually 1:6 ratio is a ratio in which they call people for the interview from the written test.
Okay, so it's really hard because there is very less vacancy for the computer science student.
That
Hardly 10,
also,
20.
True. So it also depends on the streams. Usually for streams like mechanical and all, we have a larger number of vacancies. But for computer science, the window is quite low. I agree.
Once you clear the written test, you face the interview. We all know in government job there is a huge panel. So was it scary, and how was your feeling when you faced a huge panel of senior scientists?
Yes, so for that matter, I would like to tell you that there's a huge panel of very senior scientists that are sitting for the interview. So it's usually 14 to 15 like scientists that are at a working at a very high position. So you have to be prepared for getting grilled in the interview. So definitely it is intimidating at the first, but then I think if you have you're confident about your concepts, it won't be that difficult, honestly. And they also try their best to make you comfortable. It's nothing that they want to grill you explicitly.
How was your interview experience, friends? Length of the interview and what kind of question they ask?
Since I could qualify it, so I would say my interview experience was good. But definitely, as I mentioned previously, it was intimidating at the beginning, but then they make it a point to make you comfortable. Their purpose is to test your knowledge. So that also not just the theory per se, but also they would want to know how perfectly you can apply your knowledge of the theory into applications. So mostly the questions that were asked were very much application oriented. So you really need to be sharp at it, and you really need to be spontaneous, because it usually goes this way that they'll pick up a subject, they'll ask you questions through it, and then very quickly they'll just switch to another subject. And yeah, during the interviews, they usually ask a lot of questions from coding. This is as per my experience, they ask me a lot of questions from coding. So you have to be prepared all round in all the ways to be comfortable at the interview. And the length of the interview was around about 20 to 40 minutes for me. Yeah, it was around 40 minutes for me.
So did they ask the subject knowledge as well of the computer science, like computer network, database, or computer organization, or any subjects? Or did they ask you what subject you are comfortable with?
Yes, they did ask me what subjects I am comfortable with, and they usually float around that question. But then the questions that they ask need not be confined to those subjects only. So that approach does not work. If I, say that these are two subjects that I'm very comfortable with, I can still get questions from other subjects. So yeah.
So when all 14 people are bombarding the question, how you focused on, like, some you are answering the left side person and suddenly the person from the rightmost side asked the question. So how did you focus?
Uh, it's a lot of bombarding, definitely, but they usually go about in a series. Like there's one person who'll continuously ask you a question, and if there's some other scientist who has a question on your answer, so that person would come up. But I think you need to be spontaneous with that, and also the scientists over there, also the panel understands that the candidate is slightly nervous since it's an interview, so they also try to make you as comfortable as possible. So I think you just need to have that mindset to be spontaneous and to be comfortable.
Do they ask some projects of yours as well?
Yes, they usually do ask projects. So in my case, I was having a project with for graduation, post graduation, as well as for my PhD. So I think they found my PhD project quite interesting. So they might or might not ask. I have friends who are not asked questions regarding their projects, so they might or might not.
So means if you have project, it might play a role for your selection if you have a better project.
True, it might.
So any tips for the candidates who are preparing for ISRO?
I would only like to suggest that if you are clear with your basics of the subjects, it won't be very tough for you. You can go for preparing from the previous set of question papers that are easily available on their website. And you can time and practice these questions. And I think if you're clear with your concepts, everyone is good to go. Rest is for the interview specifically, you need to prepare a bit more, because there are soft skills as well as your knowledge that is involved over there. So yeah, the interview requires a little more preparation after the written test.
What advice you want to give for the student who are graduating, who are might very confused to go for IAS or organization like PSU, ISRO, or they also trying for higher studies, some are trying for company placement, college placement. So what advice you want to give?
See, even I have been at that place where you have a lot of paths in front of you, and sometimes you know which one to pick, and sometimes it all gets very confusing. So I think my approach to it was that I was definitely clear about some things in my life. Like I wanted to pursue post graduation right after my graduation, so I made it a point to do that. And later, career wise, my approach was that I really wanted to explore a lot, which is why I also explored working as a PhD scholar full time. I also explored teaching for some time. Then I did some freelancing work also. After that, I also worked as an intern in a private company, and now I'm working with a government organization. So my approach to this was I wanted to make the best use of all the opportunities that are out there, as well as I really wanted to have a taste of all the fields, so that I can pick on one at a later stage maybe. So you need to have your own sense of understanding that what you think you are better at, and I think that would drive your dreams.
I
So
think some of you might be more confused by our approach, or maybe you want your hand dirty to try every approach. It's up to you. So thank you, Pushp. Thank you very much.
thank you, Vyom. Thank you so much for having me. And also, please do like, share, and subscribe Vyom's channel. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of you around.